Okay, once you've uncompressed the zip file, you should have something that looks like this, Goldfields GIS. So double click on that, and then here's all the files that you have. So the digital elevation model, the ortho photo are in here. And then these two things are all you really need, because all the other files are just our shape files. So if you want to start mapping, you double click on the Goldfields. If you want to do the 3D, you double click on it. You probably don't want to have both of them open at once, because especially the 3D uses a lot of memory. The idea is that you're given basically what the students in the field are given, and you're to fill this entire map up following the kind of demonstration that I have for you here. So first is the tour. So shown right now are some of the initial mapping data and then the ortho photo behind. And if I take the magnifying glass and I zoom in here very close, you can see, for example, the resolution. Here's the bus and the parking area. So this mapping and the quality is very high, and so I think it's possible to make some decisions about what units are which, and so you're going to want to really work hard to do that. Now, one thing is you can go bookmarks. You can make some new ones if you end up with some favorite places, but I've made one for you called Overview, and that takes us right back. Now, if I turn off the Ortho Mosaic, that leaves the hillshade, and so you can see the topography. You may want to use this sometimes to check relationships, and also here's 5-meter contours, so you get a sense of the shape of the topography, which you should use also to get a sense of strike and dip that you're going to want to produce as you go along based on the relationships that you map. But in general, I think you'll find the Ortho Mosaic is quite good. If you don't like that second one being drawn every time you refresh, you can turn it off. So then let's go back to the overview. So the main thing you're going to want to be doing is using the editor. And so you see my editor is out right here, but if you don't see it, go to Customize Toolbars Editor, and you would turn it and it would be turned on. So I got everything prepared for you. We have basically these are called shape files. There's 3 of them. There's one for strike and dips, one for contacts, and one for the units. So let's start with some strike and dips. So let's go to Editor, Start Editing. I'll just in this case click on strike and dips, and you get once in a while an error like this one that says that the spatial reference doesn't match the reference frame. That's okay, don't worry about that. Now then in the editor, very importantly, you're going to want to go down to Editing Windows, Create Features, because that's what we want to do. So this is going to be your friend, because actually we can use this for all 3 of our features that we're going to map. So let's first, if we click on strike and dips, then down here you can see Construction Tools Point. So now if I zoom in, if I zoom here, I can see that these layers have a dip that maybe I can work with. So I'll have the point, I'll just click right there. And then most important, you have to you go right click, open attribute table, and this will be true for each of these. And you have to pull this out. And so let's say this one, we can estimate the strike as about 315, and then the dip, let's say, looks to me, it's a little bit hard to say, but looks kind of shallow. I'm going to say 30. And so it didn't update it just right now, but now it did. And you see what it does is it uses the strike to rotate the symbol, and then it takes the dip as the label. So obviously I made a typo. That should be 30, not... Okay, so now we've made the strike and dip, so you'll want to do the ones you can see. There won't be a lot. You want to look for consistency with nearby ones, but overall you can add a few. Or if you look in the images and the drone imagery, you might be able to see some more. So if we click here to table of contents, we can go back. Let's go to our bookmarks to overview again. So let's continue here, let's say. And let's work on this contact here. So what we want to do first is if we go to the editor, we want to check snapping and click on options, and you can change the snapping tolerance, which is just the distance that between where your mouse is and the object that lets you snap to it, and it allows us to kind of efficiently do our digitizing. Now that I've set the snapping, I want to work on this contact between the pink and the brown units. So I'm going to zoom in here, and I think you can see pretty clear. It looks like the contact is right there, and it's a little bit hard to tell, but maybe it comes through here. Let's zoom in. Maybe along in here. It has to go under there. Okay, so I can click the blue arrow to take me back. So now I can just, if I click on the contacts, now I can, you see the construct tool, I'll get a line. And now as I get close, see I snap to the end of that one, which is what I want to do. So I'm going to click, and as I go, I'm clicking each vertex. And then maybe I'll stop there. It's not too bad. Now if I click on this little tool and I double click, you can see I see the vertices. So I might want to change, right now it's using both because I can move the line segment, but if I click on just one, I can move it a little bit. So one other thing you can do, let's say you think, well, you know, it's too simple. If you right click right in the middle there, you can insert a vertex, and so I can pull this over a little bit so you can clean things up. Okay, so once in a while it might disappear, and if it does, you can right click, open attribute table, and you see if you you can click, that last one was the one we drew. So you have to use this feature types. This column here has to be filled out exactly right. And so because the lines types depend on this being consistent. So this to me looks like a certain contact. So if I copy this one, I can just paste it down there, and I know it'll be drawn with the right symbology. So let's, for example, if I click another one, you see it's a solid line. So that's good. Okay, so now what we want to do is let's click on the polygons, and let's add some more of our units. So we know looks like something over here. So let's just do polygon. So I'm just going to snap from there. I'm going to keep going from what was given to us here. Click, kind of, basically it's a little bit inefficient, and there are better ways to do this, but they require more setup. So we're just doing the kind of simple way, which is to trace. We use the contact as the bounding line, and then the polygons are just colors, and so you can just build out polygon by polygon all the colors. So here, maybe that's all I should do. That's all I can see. So I double click, finish it, and I need to close the contacts and close the strike and dips. But if I right click on the Goldfields unit, I open the attribute table, that bottom one that we just did is pink. And so then you see when you put the right name in, it automatically colors it. So again, you can only use these. You can't make a new one, otherwise it won't have a color. So then now that we've done that, why don't we connect the brown up a little bit here, since we might know what's going on. So I'm just going to say, all right, let's just connect the Okay, you can see I totally messed it up. I went the wrong way. So what do we do? So if it was a small error, you could just move the vertices as I showed you, but this is terrible. I'm just going to redo it. So if I click here, I just make sure this is selected, and I'm just going to click on my keyboard, delete, and I'll just delete that. So let's start over. So let's get Goldfields unit, polygon, And maybe let's start a little simple. Don't try to do such a complicated one. Just okay, so that's pretty good. Double click. Now, then I still have my Goldfields unit open, and so that if I just type brown, boom, done. So let's go. So now most important, I'm going to say it twice, save your edits, because even if you save over here, if you don't save the edits, it won't save what you've done. So you have to save in two places. It's really important. So now we can stop editing, take a break. I'm going to go back out to my overview, and you see I've built out a little bit of the geologic map. Okay, so the first time you open up ArcScene, you might find something like this, where there's these two layers shown, but there's nothing on the main view, and you see these little red exclamation points. So that means basically ArcScene forgot where the data are. So if you right click on it, you can do data, repair data source. And so we're going to look for that file name. So it'll be in a little bit different place for you, but should be in Goldfields. So this is DEM clip shade, so it's going to be in here in DEM. It's right there. So if you just say add, and then it says, okay, I don't know where the base surface is. So now I'm going to right click, properties, base heights. And so the way this works is we basically put the image, like the hill shade, on top of the DEM. So that's what this is doing here. So say OK. And then and this part can be hard on your computer because of the memory requirements. But there it is. Okay, pretty cool. You can see, so that's the hill shade, and you get this sort of 3D view. That's the whole point of ArcScene, and my idea is for you to use it to interrogate the geology. So let's do the same thing for the Ortho Mosaic. So right click, data, repair data source. So go up, go to orthophoto, there it is right there. It says, okay, I can't find the base layer. We say we know. So you see it appeared underneath there if I turn off the DEM. But if you can see it, it's perfectly flat. So what we need to do is fix it the same way. So Goldfields, so go properties and base heights. Click here on go back. So the important thing is the orthophoto is draped on top of the DEM. Okay. Now one key thing is if this crashes on you, and then just restart it. But right here, raster resolution is a key button. So right now, you see I have 4,000 rows wide, which gives a 22 centimeter per pixel base surface. So this is good on my computer, which can handle it. If yours is crashing, then make this number of rows smaller, like try 1,000, and if it works, then do it again, try 2,000, build up, because basically it has to put all this into the memory. It can be really annoying. Because it'll crash if you're not careful. So this should work on my computer. Okay, so it's done. So now the key thing you want, the main tools are this tool here is navigate. And so with your left mouse button, you can turn it. If you have a roller or a trackpad, you can zoom in or zoom out. Oh yeah, if I use the right mouse button, it's zooming. But what I want is the hand, so I can pan. Just drag it to the right. And then I might get the navigate and sort of turn and look along, and then okay, I've got to grab the hand tool, pull it down. So you just want to do this, and then you can zoom in some more. You can also kind of click and zoom. Okay, one more thing that there is in the write-up, it talks about a KMZ file, which you can see right here, KMZ file of field observations, same as provided below. So this may help you, especially if that the ArcScene is not working for you. So if you download it and double-click this file, So here you just have to drag it over, but then hopefully you are comfortable using Google Earth. It also helps you know kind of right where everything is. But then you can click on things like the pictures that I've also provided you. But from here I think it may be useful to kind of zoom in if you need some additional view, although the orthophoto is higher resolution. But just if you need some speed for navigation, this can help, but all the work still, if you shift and you hold the shift button down, you can get some 3D, and it's not going to be as good as our 3D, but it might help. This is, if I go to Tools, Options, I have 3 times exaggeration, so you might want to do that or not. So here's a bit less exaggeration. And again, you just hold shift down, and then if you want to reset everything, you just hold the R on the keyboard, the R button, and that sort of orients it so it's map view. So use all these tools to help you do your mapping.